Good morning, guys. Welcome to Thermomix Adventures. Lisa here. Today we're going to make a really nice, fluffy sourdough type bread. Okay, so if you've ever wanted to make sourdough but you don't have a starter, this is the bread you need to make because it comes out with that beautiful, squeezy kind of crust, big air bubbles inside. It's amazing, and you don't need a starter. It's 4 ingredients, no oil required. Let me show you today how to get started on this. We've got some decent periods of time where we actually let it rest. So it is something that, like, I'm making it for lunch, and at the moment it's early hours. It's like 9 a.m. in the morning, right? So I've got to give it a few hours so it's ready in time, but it is raining here, so it feels like something that I just want to put avocado on and an egg and have for lunch today. So let me show you this beautiful Portuguese bread off Cookidoo. You'll see the first step, it's a hydration step. We're going to add to the bowl 550 grams of water, just straight out of the tap. It's all right, I've got a second container. And then we're going to add some baker's flour. Now, gluten-free, friends, not for you. Artisan gluten-free loaf, you've heard me talk about it before. It's your loaf, okay? This one, it's just you cannot swap in a bread flour. Okay, a gluten-free bread flour, it won't work. It will not give you the air bubbles. So this is glutinous only. If you can do gluten, this is for you. If not, go find the artisan loaf recipe on my videos. Okay, 720 grams. You'll see it's a lot of flour. I like this. I like the fact that it's making a really nice big loaf, okay? It's not going to be a little loaf. It's something where you're going to be able to chop up or slice up and put in the freezer, ready for when you need it, or in our case, it'll be gone in one sitting at my house. So in this goes. You could make a half batch. I can hear some of you saying, hey Lisa, it's just me and my other half. You definitely could do a half batch of this, okay? That would be easy enough, and it would be beautiful as a smaller batch. It is a free-formed loaf in the sense that you can create literally like a sourdough style loaf. So yes, a smaller loaf, perfect, yeah? Okay, on with the lid. It is the most simple though Thermomix recipe. Like if you were making this by hand, it would be very physical and hard work. It's really simple with the Thermomix, and I love how simple it is. I'll show you what it's doing. It's just bringing that dough together, but it's actually not going to knead it yet, okay? There's 2 steps in this recipe. It's so incredibly easy. You see how light work it made, bringing that together? And now, let it hydrate for 40 minutes. So I literally put and I'll just show you what it looks like. Look at that. How good is the Thermomix? What I'm going to do, and it doesn't say to do this, and you know I don't do this lightly, I'm going to push this food up the side, this stuff into it, just because I want it to be part of my mix. If you didn't do that, it's not the end of the world. I just have the time to do that today, so I will. Now, 40-minute hydrate. I'm going to bring down my timer so that I don't get distracted and it's midday and I haven't done the next step. And I'm just going to put it on for 40 minutes so that it calls me back, but it'll also keep my Thermomix awake. After 15 minutes, otherwise, you know, it'll shut down, right? So we go play, and now I've got 40 minutes to hydrate. I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to see you on the other side of this 40 minutes to do the next step. We've got a knead time and then a grow time, and then we're going to shape it. I'm so excited to show you how to do this recipe. It is beautiful. If you've not tried it, you need to give it a go. It is an amazing recipe. So I'll see you in 40 minutes time. Hey guys, welcome back. It's been 40 minutes. The time has gone off and I started without you, so I'm going to catch you up. We need to add to the bowl 1 teaspoon of instant yeast. Okay, done that. Remember to keep this stuff in your fridge or freezer, otherwise it goes off and it doesn't work. And then a heaped teaspoon, which is 10 grams of salt. That's it, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it on a knead. It says put on our lid and our measuring cup, and this is going to knead for 6 minutes. It's probably one of the longer kneads you'll ever do in your Thermomix. I don't know of any recipe that calls for a longer knead than this. Okay, so we're going to spin the dial, and then I'll be back to you after 2 hours. So in 2 hours, it's going to have doubled in size. It's going to actually come up and be pretty much poking out the top of this hole, okay? So that's then when we're going to take it out, and I'm going to come back to you and show you how to shape it so that you know what to do with this amazing bread. So let me go back. Let me spin the dial for kneading function, and I'll see you in 2 hours' time. See you then. Okay, welcome back. Let's finish this bread. It has 12 minutes left of the 2 hours, okay? So let's close this down. And you can see there it told us to, actually you can't tell, I'll have to read it to you. It tells us to rest for 2 hours. And towards the end of the time, preheat the oven to 250. So it's quite a hot oven, all right? Celsius that is. Dust a baking tray with some of your bread flour. Okay. And then it says to transfer the dough to prepared tray, then without kneading too much, shape it into a loaf, tucking the sides underneath. Using a sharp knife, cut a slit lengthways along the top so you get that nice open on it. And then it says to insert the sensor. I'm not going to insert the sensor only because I don't want to put a hole in my bread. So I'm going to just put the timer on. And it says to bake for 25 to 35 minutes until it sounds hollow when tapped. Okay, and then you get it out and it says to cool completely until serving. All right, so mine won't be cooled completely because we want this for lunch in a moment. So that's how we do it. So let's have a look at this. You can see how full that is, how it has proven beautifully. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put this upside down on my tray and I'm going to, and I don't know if you guys are high enough, I'm going to turn the little dial on the top here, the cog, to help this dough move out of the bowl. So if I turn it in a clockwise position, and I'm sorry you can't see it, it will start hopefully falling out of the bowl. Sometimes it needs a little bit of a loosening of the air pocket in there to let it come out. The trick here is not to knead it though. We do not want this to knead. Okay, if we knead it, look at that, it's having a dough baby. If we knead it, it's going to get tough. We don't want tough bread. Okay, it's done, it's proving. So I'm just putting it out onto the tray. You can see it coming out. It's kind of untwisting off the blades gradually. That's why we were turning the blades as we were. There's a little bit of dough left in there, so scrape the bits off the side. You don't want to let that go to waste. And then you can put it back on the Thermomix and spin that off. Won't take a second at all to do that, so I'll just get what I can out myself. By the way, those spider webs you saw looking things on the side of the bowl and even on, let me spin this around, this spider web look is the look of a perfectly proven dough. I'm just going to spin the extra off for a second. So up to speed 10 just for a second. It'll spin it to the side. Just throws it all out to the sides. Okay, so yeah, this is the sign of a really beautifully proven dough. You're going to get really nice air bubbles in the dough, which is what we want. Remember, we're going for that cheap sourdough. So see how it flicked it to the sides? So now I can follow the high blades around with my spatula. Just scrape it down there. Remember to use your dough mode on your TM6. By the way, you can make this on any model Thermomix, but on your TM6, you've got your dough mode to clean in your pre-cleans. Remember to use that to clean up this bowl so that it doesn't get stickier. You don't want to add any heat to dough in cleaning, because otherwise it just gets tackier. Look at that, pretty clean. All right, so shape it gently, it said. So it did touch the side, which that was not my preference for it to come over here. You don't want to put more dough if you can, and more flour, sorry, on top of the dough if you can help it, but we want to shape it so that we get a nice side up. So all we're going to do is we're going to pull the sides in. You can see how beautifully it comes off the mat. Pull the ends in. So imagine I'm making a big bread roll. And then I'm going to tuck, I might spin the whole tray, and tuck the other sides in before I then totally invert this upside down. Okay, so up with that. I just don't want to lose that bit of dough. So now all I'm going to do is roll it up, and then hopefully it hasn't stuck to the bottom bit of flour, because you want, there we go, look at that. You want a smoothish top. You'll notice it's quite a, I don't know, how do you call it? Like it's a floppy dough. It doesn't have, because it's so airy, it doesn't have that kind of holding capacity, especially when you're doing it in a big amount. But look at that. So what I've done now is I've tucked, and you can generally see underneath, you can see where I've tucked it under. Okay, so you can tuck it under, make it look as neat as you want. By the way, this would make a beautiful cob loaf this time of year. I'm just slicing it up. So there we go, look at that, beautiful. Now I'm going to get my knife. This is a sharp knife. I don't really have hugely sharp knives anymore, so I'm just going to use what I've got. And it says to cut it. I'm not sure if this is going to work with my not so sharp knife. The idea behind this cut is when you cook it, it gets that beautiful open bit. I'm sure if you've got a sharp knife, it will do better than my not very sharp knife here, but you get that openness to it that you'd expect on sourdough. Okay, well, it is kind of opening. I'll show you. See, I'm getting a little bit of open in it. And as that rises in the oven, it will do some beautiful opening. So there you go. That's going in the oven now, 25 to 35 minutes, 250, toasty hot. And then I'll show you the final product soon. So I hope this is giving you confidence to give this a go, okay? It's a beautiful recipe. It is something, as I said, cheap sourdough. Literally, you do not need to have that sourdough starter. You can do this from home with what you've got. So I'll come back with that final picture of the final product in 25 minutes. Can't wait to show you then. But get going on this recipe. Let me know what you think. And if you have challenges along the way, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And those of you who are gluten-free, artisan gluten-free loaf on Cookidoo for you. But I'll see you again to show you this very, very soon. See you then. Okay guys, welcome back. Look at this. It's come out of the oven. Now I've got to say, I only left it for 23 minutes. I put 25 on the timer and then it smelled like it was done. I opened the oven and it looked like if I go much longer, it probably would have overcooked. Now it is not cool because the kids are literally hanging around going, how long do we get to eat it? So they're going to put some avocado and egg and some leftover hollandaise on it. So that's pretty cool. But look at that. That's so easy. It was 3 steps. Yes, time between them. We had a 40-minute rest and a 2-hour prove and then a 25-minute cook. But that's just phenomenal. Let me cut it through the center and let me show you what this looks like. I might cut it a little, no, I'll cut it through the center. I've got my awesome knife from the mix shop. This is a Thermomix bread knife. Usually has a guard on it. I took the guard off, okay? Let's cut this through and see. Now it's got, hang on, I'm gonna spin you around. I wanna show you what this looks like. Spin back. Give me a second to get you guys sorted. Okay, let me show you as I cut. You know how I said it's got that sourdough sponginess? You can see that as I cut. Okay, now I will be squishing some air bubbles because I'm cutting it hot, okay? So there's no doubt that this is not gonna be, you're gonna see squished air bubbles. But let's have a look. You ready? You ready? I'll give you guys down here a sneak peek. Oh my goodness. And you can see where I've squished the air bubbles. Actually, I can see where that needs to be cooked a whisker longer, but that's okay. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Homemade bread. So from that, turn it down a little bit. If I, had the sensor in, I probably would have got that differently, right? But it needs that little bit of extra time. And probably as well, if I hadn't opened it now, when it is now hot still, that inner would have cooked a bit longer too. Yeah, I've let the steam out now. It's going to dry out, but the kids are actually literally going to eat it. Thankfully, they don't mind the doughy taste. I hate it. I'll be eating the end bits, but no, that'll be fine. Like that's just literally going to be that center bit that's going to be like that. But look at that homemade bread. You can see those beautiful bubbles, and that's what I was talking about. This sourdough bubbles, okay? And yes, if you wait till it cools, you don't squish your bubbles. You'll see them more prominently as well. But I hope this gives you the confidence to give it a go. Totally stoked with that outcome there. Even with that, that's okay. Keeping it real in the kitchen, hopefully so that you get the confidence to give it a go as well. And you know what? Learn from my mistakes. Cook it a little longer. I've got a Bosch oven that was at 250 like they called for. Leave it at 250, maybe bring it down to 230 and cook it for another 10 minutes. But we're going to serve this up for lunch. I hope this has helped you use your Thermomix in ways that you weren't otherwise going to. TM31, TM5, TM6, it doesn't matter. You can make this recipe and get the most out of your Thermomix too. But otherwise, take care and I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.